everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. This is what it looks like. I have been playing around with this palette. In this video, you're going to see 3 different looks, swatches, as well as my opinions, and a little bit about this palette. So if this sounds like a video for you, let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay guys, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. As soon as I saw the pictures on Trend Mood, I was like, oh, she pretty. She is really pretty. This is what it looks like up close. It's very neutral, but you still get your pops of colors, and it's not that typical pop of blue. You know, you get purples in here, you get a teal, you get the mint, you get a nice little variety. And of course, in this palette, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, you get a nice variety as far as the textures in this palette. Now, right off the bat, she did change up the packaging. So you get the nice size mirror and everything, but you get a nice plastic type of packaging versus in the past, she always did the basic type of cardboard packaging. So I do appreciate that. I think it's a bit more travel friendly. I will say it is a little bit harder for me to open it up. I think if you have really long nails, you may struggle a little bit, but I don't think that that's the end of the world or anything. But I will say I have a lot of thoughts as far as how the formula performed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be popping up videos of the 3 different looks that I did create. I thought this would be a better way for me to be able to talk and do a review for you guys without making the video too long, and it's just like a quick nice review on the palette. So I did go ahead and pick this palette up the day it released from Huda Beauty, and I think it was like October 24th, October 25th. I did pay for expedited shipping. Now I could have gone ahead and as soon as I got this palette done a first impression for you guys or multiple looks right off the gate for you guys, but for me personally, I wanted to give myself more time to really get to kind of know the formula, to play around and to create different looks, but as well as get a good idea of how it wears. So the day I'm filming this, it is actually, let's see here, it is November 4th. So I've had a lot of time to play around with this palette. So like I said, it's not a first impression. I've really gotten to know this palette. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and read straight from Huda Beauty's website what she says about this $67 palette. She says the carefully curated palette is filled with easy to use combinations of dusty coppers, rosy pinks, golden taupe tones, with pops of purple and blue. The palette features a cosmic blend of whimsical fantasy-like shades, balancing cool and warm tones to complement the best of the intergalactic world. You know, every time this year, Huda always releases one of her large size palettes, and I have to appreciate the fact that when she does it, she doesn't do whatever the trend is. Like, I feel like right now it's very simple neutrals or warm tones is what everybody's gravitating towards and everybody's running for, or just an all cool tone palette, you know, or a monochromatic palette. But I feel like Huda does her own thing. Like, every palette has always been her own thing. And I have to say, like I said, when I saw Trend Mood release pictures of this palette, I really gravitated towards it. Because like I said, I mean, if you cover up this, you know, those pops, those shimmers and everything, you do have a very basic neutral type of palette, which is right up my alley. However, I am trying to dip my toes into a bit more color. And these colors give it to me. And I absolutely love that and appreciate that. So, like I said, I'm going to be popping up different pictures or videos of me applying this palette, but I did want to talk about the different formulas in here. Now, she does have a new glitter formula, she says, which is this Nabla color, and it's the purple shade. Now, I am the type of person, I have so many thoughts, but I'm the type of person that when I go to put on my makeup, I used to have 50 different steps, and I used to do eyeshadow, primer, and the whole 9 yards. Now, I keep it fairly simple, and I don't do concealer. I don't use concealer on my face. I don't use it on my eyes. I don't do an eyeshadow primer or anything. I do prime my face, and whatever I put on my face, I will put onto my lids. And as far as a concealer type of product goes, all I use is my Tatcha Pearl in the shade Moonlight, and I do apply that all over my eyes. Now, what I will tell you guys is I had very good success with every single one of these shades as far as that went with it staying put on my eyes. Now, I had a little bit of glitter and I wouldn't even call it fallout. It's more or less, it was like I chunked it up on my finger and applied it and had a little fallout that way. I did not have, and you guys will see in the pictures over here, or the video over here, you guys will see that I used a brush as well as I did use my finger for some of the shades, and there wasn't like a mess down here. I always apply my face first and then go into my eyes, and I didn't have an issue whatsoever as far as that goes. I will tell you guys, if you see glitter on my face today, I do not actually have the Huda palette on. I'm testing out another palette that recently released, but again, I didn't want to just throw up a video to get the views. I wanted to really know the palette, know how it worked, and play around with it. And do I have to wear primers and concealers, etc. So with that being said, I will tell you guys, I thought the mattes were beautiful in this palette. But one thing I will tell you, the haze shade did best perform with a concealer. If you want that pigmentation that you get in the swatches, if that makes sense. Meaning, if you want to just kind of dust it as a transition shade on your lid, you don't really so much need a concealer or a primer. But for me, I wanted it to be that opaque and have that opacity on my lid, and I wanted it to stay all day. I found, like with the second look, I think it is, and I'm going to be showing you guys, I found because I did not use a concealer or primer with that particular shade, it didn't want to stay all day long. And if I barely kind of tap my eye like that, it kind of just dusted away. So I played around with it, and again, if that had been a first impression, I would have been like, that's crap, it is awful. But playing around with it, giving myself time to get to know how the formula works and the shades work, etc., I found that if I did go ahead and dab a little bit of concealer on there, it stayed perfectly. There was no issue. Or if I didn't want to use concealer and I did just use my Tatcha Pearl and I did not set it, because you'll see multiple times I always jumped right into the Momentum shade, and I'd set my entire lid because that's what I do. I typically never have a sticky base going in with my eyeshadows. If I left my Tatcha Pearl unset and then applied the green haze shade, absolutely no issue whatsoever. I'd get the pigmentation, the opacity, and the longevity. So just letting you guys know, if you don't want to take the steps of a concealer, if you don't want to take the steps of a primer, and you are like me and you just use the Tatcha Pearl, just don't set it and you'll get the payoff you're looking for. That was legitimately the only shade in this palette that I had to go in with a tacky base. As far as everything blending out, everything blended out absolutely beautifully. I didn't have any issues as far as that went to blend anything out. So talking about the shimmers, I will be real with you guys, I'll be honest. I felt like the shimmers, the metallics, whatever you want to call it, were a little bit inconsistent. Some of them were very rich and very creamy and very vibrant. And then, like for example, Ultraviolet and Cosmic, like these two shades right here, for me, I really had to work to get payoff. If you use your finger, you'll get a better payoff. But if you're trying to use your brush, you really have to build it up and build it up. Almost it would be better if it was just like a topper. You know what I mean? You could get a little bit of payoff there, but it's not much. I felt like I had to work harder with those two shades. Whereas like the shade Mercury, you barely rub and you get a ton on your finger. Same with like Supermoon. Ton, you get a ton of payoff there. Gold Glitch, which I love this shade. But the Gold Glitch shade was very similar to Cosmic and Ultraviolet. It's really, really pretty, but you don't necessarily get the payoff that you would with the other shades. So that I found to be a little bit weird because it was a little inconsistent in my opinion. Not bad, you just had to work to build up if you were trying to get a certain, like what was in the pan. You know what I mean? If you were trying to build up to get that to what was in the pan. So I will tell you, I do want to talk about the shade Nabla. My understanding is this glitter shade, oh my good heavens, so pretty, so pigmented. I didn't use a glitter glue or anything. I just went straight in, packed it on with my finger. And if you don't like using your finger, you could still get away using a brush with that glitter shade. This shade was so easy to work with. It wasn't like one of her chunky glitters from like the past where you it kind of skipped or what have you. This just was like full out, like boom, there it is. And I did a video wearing this palette with Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson conspiracy vlog that I did trying to get that collection, and I had the purple on, and I can tell you, like, I did not have creasing, fallout, crustiness, nothing. This novelist shade, this new glitter that she has in here is beautiful. So my overall thoughts of this palette is I really like it. I did, like I said, I had a little bit of inconsistencies when the shimmer, you know, when it came to the shimmers, and the one haze shade, the one matte shade having to go in with a tacky base. But overall, it was a really good palette. Now, I know some people have said it's not cohesive for them, but for me, it was actually really perfect, which surprised me because you know me, guys. You know that I get very extremely overwhelmed if there's too much going on in here. The one thing I will say is I do wish that she had a little bit darker of like a, I don't know, like a muted brown taupey shade, like a little bit darker than, like, instead of these two shades here, instead of Crash and Off Balance, I wish there had been a deeper muted shade to kind of go in instead of, like, because your two deeper shades are right here, Hotmess, I love that, and Vortex. So those were your two deeper ones. I wish there was more of a deeper taupey neutral shade in here instead of those two, Off Balance and Crush, or even Karma and Utopia. Like, give me something a little bit deeper. Like, we could have done away with the Utopia. But I think overall, I really like this palette. I really like the formula. I think that I want to, honestly, I want to see more of her glitters. More of that nebula shade, beautiful. I want to see more of that kind of formula. Anyways, that is my thoughts on the Mercury Retrograde palette. I wanted to get this video up for you guys now because the Sephora VIB sale is going on, and depending on where you are in Sephora, you can get 10 to 20% off on this palette. I personally feel like whether you create looks only using this palette or use it with, say, some of her minis or another neutral palette, I think you're really going to enjoy this palette. And, you know, like for me, like I said, I'm dipping into color more and more now that I don't have to be stuck out in the corporate world, and I love it. I am gravitating towards these fun colors. I thought this was the perfect palette, and I think that the timing was perfect. I like that it's different than what we typically see, and I will insert a shot of all four of her palettes together because I know some people are like, well, that's just the nude shades and da-da-da. I think that all the palettes are complementary personally, and I think that, you know, if you don't find the colors in here and you have, like, say, her original palette, you're going to be able to find very beautiful cohesive looks. So anyways, friends, that's going to be all for today's video. Let me know down below if you did pick up this palette. Let me know your thoughts on the palette as well as that new glitter formula. Oh my goodness, I love her glitter formula. You guys have been asking me about the Tati palette, which is what I have on my eyes today. There will be a video coming, but again, I don't post my videos. I know it's horrible. I don't post for views. I post to give you guys thorough, in-depth reviews on products, and I know I'm later to the game to get a lot of my videos up, but I really, you know, when you spend $40, $50, $60, $100 on a palette, I don't want to just throw up a video to get the views. You know, I really want to give you guys my true, honest thoughts, my opinions, and be as detailed as I possibly can. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please vote by giving me either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, and feel free to share this video on Facebook or on Twitter to let others know that we exist over here on the internet, because Mama's putting together a 20,000 giveaway, and I want to hit 20K by going into 2020. Did any of that make sense? Probably not. Anywho. Anyways, guys, make sure you subscribe before you leave. Check my description box down below for some discount codes, as well as the link to my second channel. And until next time, as always, I hope you all have a wonderful, beautiful, and blessed day. Kisses from Kentucky. Mwah!